$80 for a Switch 2 game? We've got to talk about this. So you've probably seen the pricing for the Switch 2 as well as its games. And if you're like anyone else on the internet right now, you are probably livid. Now, I have some opinions on this for sure, and I am going to give those opinions a bit later on in the video. But first, I want to just start off with the facts, talk about some reasons as to why this could be happening, and what we could potentially expect when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 games and their prices. First, I want to do a quick list of the Nintendo Switch 2 games and their prices. This is just some of the games that are coming out, not all of them. So first, we got Mario Kart World, $80. Mario Party Jamboree with the extra content, $80. Kirby and the Forgotten Land with the extra content, $80. Then we've got the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom coming in at $80 as well. Donkey Kong Bonanza, $70. Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition, $70. Street Fighter 6, $60. That's a familiar price point. Bravely Default Remaster, $40. And of course, the console is priced at $449 for just the console itself, and then the bundle with Mario Kart World is $500. We've got to talk about the Switch 2 upgrades. Specifically, if you have the Nintendo Switch version of a game, you can upgrade it to the Nintendo Switch 2 version, but you will have to pay for that. From what I've seen, there is no pricing information about the upgrades for the Nintendo Switch 2 versions of games if you already have the Switch 1 version. But what I do know is if you have the expansion pack, so Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, you'll be able to get these extra upgrades without an extra cost. Now that we've got the facts out of the way, let's get into the potential reasons behind these price hikes. First potential reason, which I feel is a very likely reason, is to offset the development costs for making these Switch 2 games as well as the upgraded versions of these games. When it comes to game development, you gotta pay people. End of story. And if you're paying people, you've got to be able to recoup those costs in some kind of way. Then a potential macroeconomic reason would be the tariffs that are happening here in the US. So I can only speak from the US perspective because that's where I'm at right now. So anyone who is importing anything into this country right now is going to have to deal with very high costs. And here's the thing, as a business, what they usually do to offset costs is either they take the hit, lower their profit, and then that's it, right? Or they can offset the price by letting the consumer take the hit, meaning they raise prices in order to cover the cost of the tax that they're getting. I'm pretty sure you know which one's happening right now. And regardless of the macroeconomic or developmental reasons for this, it is still a heavy hit to us gamers. We've been used to $60 price tags, at least here with Nintendo, and other parts in the gaming industry have normalized the $70 price point, and to a degree, that's a bit more palatable than saying, here's an $80 game. Now, for me, I don't really want to buy an $80 game. I would rather pay something that is $60 at the most $70. And something else that I'm really curious about is, are we going to be seeing Nintendo Switch 2 games be $70 in general, and we have these premium, quote unquote, $80 games? If that actually is the case, then I'm not going to be super happy about it. I did have the opinion that coming into this generation, right, Switch 2, we were potentially going to get a price hike on games. I thought originally it was going to be $70. That was what I was thinking. Seeing $80 sprinkled in there is a little bit off-putting, to say the least, and I don't really vibe with it. And I know a lot of you don't either. So with the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades, this one is a bit mixed for me because if you're choosing to upgrade your Nintendo Switch versions of games to the Nintendo Switch 2 version, that could end up being very costly depending on the price point that they have for the upgrades. But what seems like somewhat of a silver lining is if you have the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, you will have all of those upgrades included at no extra cost. And I have to say, they are really trying to upsell us on the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. They're adding GameCube to it, Mind you, you will not have access to that if you are on the regular Nintendo Switch, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Then, of course, the whole upgrade thing being a part of that. And of course, let me know in the comments what you think of this whole price situation with the Nintendo Switch 2. Are you upset? Are you indifferent? Are you loving the prices? If you're loving the prices, okay. But I don't really feel like there's many people out there loving the prices. There's probably like 73 people who are like, yeah, I can't wait to pay more money for this luxury good. And you know, okay. Anyway, I'm DJ Raviesta. That's gonna be it for me. The Rhinos are watching. Good night.